Welcome to Home Assistant, or ProHomeHA for short. I'm Pro now, and in today's episode, we will be adding our first add-ons, dipping our toes into the Home Assistant community store, and creating our first automation. Let's get to it. Add-ons are a very powerful tool that allow us to add extra things to Home Assistant and have extra tools for us, such as a file editor, a terminal, and more. Our first add-on that we add is going to give us the prerequisites that we need in order to add Home Assistant Community Store to our Home Assistant instance. To install add-ons, first you go to Settings, then Add-ons. If this is your first time in the add-on section, you will see this big empty box that says you do not have any add-ons installed yet. Head over to the add-on store to get started. Lower right-hand corner says Add-on Store. We're going to use this to install Advanced SSH and Web Terminal. This add-on is going to give us SSH capabilities as well as a nice terminal built into Home Assistant to control using a command line. Go ahead and hit Install. Now that our add-on has installed, it presents us with some new options. Start on boot will make it start when you start the system. Watchdog, if it crashes, it'll start it back up again. Auto update is useful in certain add-ons. Most of the ones that come from the regular add-on store, auto update is safe, but if you've added a repository, you may not want auto update just in case they break something in an update. Show in taskbar. Turn this on. We need this for terminal. Protection mode doesn't matter if it's on or off. We're not quite done yet, not ready to hit start. We need to go over to configuration and we're going to change two settings. First one is going to be our username for SSH. And then second, we're going to create a password. We hit save. Then we go back to the info tab, hit start. Now that our add-on has started, you should see terminal on the left in that panel. Go ahead and open that up. And you should be greeted with the Home Assistant terminal here. Open a new tab, search for download HACS, H-A-C-S, Home Assistant Community Store. Should be the first option you see. And this is super simple. We're on operating system or OS, which is also supervised. Both are in the same commands here. We've already added SSH. We've already opened up that terminal. We need to copy this wget command here. Go back to our terminal. Most likely it's going to be Control-Shift-V in order to paste. Then hit enter. It'll do its thing. You'll see the little arrow again. You'll know that it's completely finished. There's one thing left to do to finish your install of HACS. And it tells you right here at the bottom. Remember to restart Home Assistant before you configure it. So let's head over to Developer Tools. Restart. Restart Home Assistant. Restart. Our Home Assistant instance is almost restarted. There it goes. It has started. And now we need to add HACS. We've done the install, but we've got to add it as an integration, which we covered last week. Settings, Devices and Services. Lower right-hand corner, Add Integration. We want to search for HACS, Home Assistant Community Store. Click it, and it's going to have some notices pop up. Make sure to read each one before you agree. Press Submit. You're going to be presented with a code. Copy that code. Press the button to log into your GitHub, because you have to link Home Assistant Community Store to GitHub. Now, what do you do with the Home Assistant Community Store? With the Home Assistant Community Store, on the left-hand panel, you actually have the ability to search for things made by third parties. Other users of Home Assistant have made many integrations for things that aren't supported right out of the box for Home Assistant. For instance, I have a Winix air purifier. All I had to do was search for Winix, click on it. It's going to break down everything about the integration. This one is fairly straightforward. In order to install, hit download. Hit download again. And it's downloaded. Go back. You'll see we've got Winix air purifier right there. Something you need to do after you've installed Home Assistant Community Store integrations. In order for them to take effect, you need to restart your Home Assistant instance again. So again, develop the tools, restart, wait for it to restart. Now that our instance has restarted, we can go ahead and go to Settings, Devices and Services again, Add Integration, and now, when we search Winix, it appears in the integrations list. Now that we've covered add-ons and the Home Assistant Community Store, next, as promised, we're going to create our first automation. We go to Settings, Automations and Scenes. Should be empty if you haven't created one yet. Create automation in the lower right-hand corner. Create a new automation. And for our first automation, we're going to start with our trigger being the sun. You can also do it based on a device state if you'd like. Device or state. State is easier. In this case, I'm going to use the sun, and at sunset, I want to call a service as my action for turning on the light. Just type in light, you'll see your options there, light.toggle, light.turn-off, and light.turn-on. In this case, at sunset, we want it to turn on. We are presented with more options in the UI here. Click on Choose Entity. And what do you know? Bedroom lamp 1 is right there. We can change the color, set the color what we want it to. Me, I would like to change the color temperature. And since it's going to be sundown, we're going to want a warmer white. And we're going to want to set the brightness. Let's set it down to 25%. Next, we hit save in the lower right-hand corner. We give it a name. In this case, I'm going to name it Light Sundown. Give it a description. Save. And congratulations, you have created an automation. Now when the sun sets, it will automatically set the light we chose to turn on to the warm white like we chose, because it has less blue light in it. And it's going to set to a dim brightness to give the room a nice ambiance. Congratulations, you've added your first add-on. You've installed and used the Home Assistant Community Store, and you've created your first automation. I highly suggest you investigate more into the Home Assistant Community Store and see what it has available for you. It has more than just integrations. It has stuff for our next lesson, which will be dashboards. So if you want to mess around with that, you can. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Thank you for joining us today. Take care.